goody guys, welcome back to Wind Down with Books with your girl Kay. As you can see by the title, we are reviewing Trophy Wife. Trophy Wife was suggested by Tyra Mel. Thank you for recommending this book. I'ma just start off saying hands down, at the end of the book, I was crying. London's debt hit me hard. I'm not even gonna lie. And Kalil's life hit me hard. But anyways, before we get into that, let me get my sip of wine. Alright. Anyways, let's just get into it. So, Trophy Wife. This is how it started off. So, there's two authors in the book. There's two authors, Ashley and Jaquavis. I think that's how you pronounce his name. They write books. They are at a book signing with different authors in New York, in Harlem. And this guy, as they sitting there, signing books, this guy is just watching them. So they like, what's good with him? So Jaquavis, he carried his gun around, it's Harlem. And back in the book, Harlem that time was dangerous. So the dude watching him, he watching the dude start walking towards them. So he told Ashley, like, yo, give me my gun. So the dude approached them. He's like, nah, fam, it's not even like that. I'm just dropping off this envelope. My man's want to talk to you. So they're like, who's your man? So they look in the envelope, it's $10,000. So they're like, would you give me $10,000? He's like, yo, my man really want to talk to you. He's up in Rikers. Go see him, this, and the third. So Ashley and Jaquavis, they go to the jail because they interest is peaked. They like, who giving me $10,000 to come just to have a conversation? So they go to the jail and they visit Kalil. So Kalil is in jail doing a life sentence, and he's basically like, listen, I've been in here, I read a lot, I like your writing style, I want you to write my story. So they're like, listen, we don't do memoirs, we don't do all of that, any autobiographies, none of that. So he's like, listen, I'm gonna start telling you my story because it's a story of pain, heartbreak, and he really needs to get his story out there because he's going through it. So they're like, all right, he's just like, no, they're like, all right, let's hear it, whatever. He's just like, I'm gonna just tell you the story. So it starts off by saying why he was in jail. So Kalil was in jail he did a 4-year bid he was a notorious drug dealer, right? He moved bricks throughout the city. He was good at what he did. He had money. He was doing his thing. But because of a faulty evidence or something like that in his case, he got off with just having a possession or something like that and not intent to sell, whatever it was, right? So his main focus is like, all right, he did 4 years in jail. While he's in jail, he could only think about his daughter, because when he went into jail, his daughter was 4. And now she's 8. Her name is Jada, and he just wants to be a good father. He wants to do good. He wants to stay out of the drug game. He doesn't want to leave his daughter. His daughter is his life, and that's his main focus, right? He also has a baby mom's destiny. When he was out in the world, he took care of them. He provided for them. He gave them everything that they needed. They didn't want for anything, but he just got caught up and he just held it down. So I'm just thinking about the story, guys. So anyways, so Kalil worked for Hova. Hova is a notorious drug dealer. He's a white boy that wants to play the game, and he wants people to fear him, and everybody do fear him. He don't really care about the money. It's more so about the fear that he instill in people, and it's just like, all right, he's gonna do whatever he has to do to make sure that people fear him. That includes killing women and children. Like, he has no morals, no principles. He is the devil in plain sight. So yeah. So Kalil gets released from jail. His cousin Quinn picks him up. So before Kalil went to jail, his cousin Quinn was on top of everything. Like, that was his man. So he had money. So when he came and picked Kalil up, he realized, like, yo, what's good with Quinn? Like Quinn must be doing bad to be driving like a bucket car, which it was true. Like Kalil, once Kalil went away, Quinn didn't have the money, so he's in the projects. He's selling weed, but the weed game is not as strong as the cocaine game. Sorry, I said game. So that's what it is. So Kalil was like, I want to see my daughter. So they drive over to the house that he bought Destiny, nice house, provided, whatever. So, listen to this, right? So, he surprised his daughter, Jada. Jada's so happy. He looked at Jada, and Jada's wearing boys' clothes. So, he's like, why Jada wearing boys' clothes? She's not the little girl that he remember. You gonna understand why she was wearing boys' clothes, but let me take a sip. All right. So now, my man see his daughter. My man want to see his baby mom, right? So my man pull up into the crib. He go to the crib. Where your mom, yo, Destiny. Guess what, y'all? Guess what? So he opened the bedroom door. Destiny on her knees giving oral sex to Kalil enemy named Fat Boy. Trifling ass hoe, right? So Kalil's taken back. Not only is she not loyal, she's giving oral sex to his enemy, Fat Boy. When Kalil went to jail, Fat Boy was just like a little petty pusher trying to get down with the big boys. He's a snitch. He's a snitch. He had no principles. Like he would do anybody foul. He would send people to jail just to keep his ass out of jail. And he thought he was a come up because he's the only one really pushing weight. Now that once Kalil went behind bars, so he's the man on top. So Fat Boy see Kalil walk up in the crib and Destiny's still sucking him off. So Fat Boy sitting like this, right? Making Destiny suck him off while Kalil watching and getting a kick out of it, a smirk, right? So, first of all, I'm like, Kalil, soon as you would have seen that, what is you doing, boy? Like, what are you doing? So, Fat Boy got a kick out of that, right? But Kalil's on the type of time, he's not trying to go back to prison. He's not trying to go back to prison. So, and he was just hurt. Like, I guess, like, it's more so, like, he didn't expect Destiny to really hold it down while he was away, but it's one thing to have sex with somebody, but it's one, you're gonna have sex with your baby father enemy? You don't cross the line. Just because Fat Boy is giving her some money and this, that, and the third, like, you gonna violate. So she played Kalil. So Kalil took his daughter and dipped out. I would have did the same thing. So now Kalil is staying at Quinn's house. Kalil's just devastated. He can't believe that Destiny blown up the phone like, oh, I'm sorry, this time I love you. She was very manipulative. She didn't care. She didn't really love him. She loved the money. And because, he came out of jail, he didn't have any money. She blew all the savings that he held down. He hid. So, he came out with nothing. So she looked at it like she only cared about them chasing the money. And the point was the matter of she wasn't keeping the house clean. She wasn't caring for her daughter. She was choosing Fat Boy with her daughter. She wasn't even recognizing the signs that was going on. But I'm going to hold that for another part, right? So now we at Quinn's apartment. So Quinn was pissing me off in the beginning because Quinn and Kalil had a conversation where Kalil let him know, like, I don't want to go back to the drug game, because Quinn is like, now that you out, you could go see Ho. We could get these bricks. You could move it. We could push it. We about to be back on top. Because Quinn is only selfishly thinking about himself. You know what I'm saying? He want the money, but he's not taking into account that his cousin just got out of jail. His cousin don't want to go back. His cousin wants to walk a right path. And he kept pressuring him and like, let's do it. Because without Kalil, Quinn was not gonna be put on to no good cocaine, because Hove didn't want to deal with anybody else but Kalil, because Kalil was a top runner. So Kalil was like, yo, I already told you, like, chill out with all that. So Quinn was like, I'm gonna give him space, but in due time, right? I have notes here because I read multiple books at one time. So this story I don't want to get, mixed up or whatever. So anyways, right? So now let's see where we at. All right. So, anyways, we're gonna fast forward a little bit. So, Kalil was like, he kept going on multiple interviews. They kept turning down because he a felon. Then next thing you know, he passed the construction site. The guy who runs the construction site, Italian mob boss. He also in the drug game. He's a racist asshole. We're just gonna keep it like that. I'm gonna just keep it simple. He's a racist asshole, and he thinks black people are dogs, right? So Kalil presents himself like, I need a job. So the sign advertising says $24 an hour. He's like, Kalil went to jail. He already looked at Kalil like he been in jail. He need a job. He need so I could shorthand him and charge $13 an hour. So Kalil's like, you know what, whatever. I'm just taking because he gotta get his parole officer off his back, right? So Kalil starts putting up with racist ass remarks from the mob boss. The mob boss don't. At the time, Kalil didn't know. Let me stop right there. So Moradi, the Italian boss, right? It just so happened when Kalil was in the drug game, Moradi, whatever his name is, was his competition. And the dude don't even know him. So Kalil's like, he was talking to him crazy. Kalil's like, if this was back in the day, I would have pistol whooped you. I'm like, I understand. Like, I'll pistol him right now. He talking crazy. But anyways, so yeah, Kalil working long, hard hours at the construction site, putting up with racist remarks because he's trying to do the right thing. And I respected him for that. Because, a lot of people would look at it like, at the end of the day, the men got strikes against them. For being black, for being a man, for being in jail, right? You have a felony, you black and you're a man, you're gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for you. That's a proven fact. It's gonna be hard for you. This world don't provide second chances to our black men. I'm sorry, they don't. They really don't. So it's hard for them. So I understand why a lot of black men, when they come out of jail, they revert back to doing old things and engaging in old activities because it's 10 times harder for them to get a second chance in this world because people look at them like, oh, you're a felon, this, that, and the third. It's hard out here for our black men. And our black women as well. You know what I'm saying? But we talking about Kalil. He's a black man. Anyways, right? So Kalil's main thing is that he wants to be in his daughter's life. He don't want to miss a day. So he starts taking her to school every day and picking her up. It just so happened, when he started picking up from school, the daughter Jada likes to dance, so she go to a dance school. So he goes to pick up for dance school, and he sees her dance teacher, London. So London, he's taken back by London. London is a nice, fair-skinned Trinidadian, right? My people. So she dancing, and something about her captivates him. So he meets London, and then that's that. So we're gonna fast forward. Let me change my page. We're going along, right? So we're gonna fast forward a little bit. So one day he's at work, and he forgets that he has to pick up London. So he goes to the school. Not London. I'm thinking about London. He forgets that he gotta pick up Jada. He runs to the school. London tells him that Jada's been picked up. So he's like, who pick up Jada? So London says that Jada was picked up, and then he looked at the clipboard by Fat Boy. So now Fat Boy is the enemy. So Destiny's trifling. Destiny then called, after doing what she did, she had the nerve to call Fat Boy to pick up his daughter from school. You didn't see Destiny need her ass whooped. Like she's pushing, she's overdoing it. Destiny was really overdoing it. I did not like Destiny. I'm telling you, I didn't like Destiny. So my boy was like, what? He go back to the house. Jada is like in the bathroom crying. So he like, what happened? She said, Fat Boy tried to touch me again. And he's like, what? Fat Boy tried to touch me down here again. So Fat Boy molesting Jada the whole time, and Destiny don't even know nothing about it. So Kalil starts tearing up. Kalil's tearing up, crying because, he wasn't there to protect his baby girl. And it like, I was reading a book and I felt all his emotions. It was breaking my heart. Like, this book was real. It's not real, but it was real. Like, I felt the emotions coming from the book. And it's rare that when a book does that to you, the book is well written, right? So he busts into the room. Destiny's in. Destiny's is with Fat Boy in the room, right? So, I mean, Fat Boy wasn't in the room at the time. My bad. That's Kalil busts into the room, and he wants to break Destiny face in, but he takes a belt and starts whooping her ass. To be honest with you, I can't even mad that he whooped her. I'm sorry, I can't even mad that he whooped her. He just found out that her mother's boyfriend is touching his daughter. You're not thinking clearly. I know I wouldn't be thinking clear. I don't care about none of that. So he put a whooping on Fat Boy. He put a whooping on Fat Boy, and it didn't go so good. So now he's hurt. And Fat Boy's on the run. Let me take a sip. So Kalil's shaking up about that. So then he screams at Destiny like, listen, I'm taking Jade out of here. Destiny like, oh, why are you taking my daughter? I'm like, Destiny, shut up. Shut up. So now Kalil's on the hunt for Fat Boy again. Fat Boy is nowhere to be found. So some days go by. Things haven't settled down, but routine is getting back to normal. And Jada's like, I'm glad to be out the house, right? So he goes to pick up Jada from dance class again and sees London. Why I keep saying London? He sees Jada outside, right, when he pull up to the school. So he asks Jada what's going on. So he's like, oh, Miss London is in there. A man was yelling at her. She told us to come outside. So Kalil going to protect him. He like, what? He run inside the dance class and see that London's like on her knees crying. And when he look up at her face, she had a black eye. Her lips is busted, bleeding, everything. So he like, who did this to you? And everything. So when he asked that, she felt like a connection, like he genuinely cared what happened to her, about her well-being. And Kalil was like, listen, this is not gonna happen again. So Miss London didn't really say anything. He's like, listen, you deserve better. And then Miss London was like, are you better? And then Kalil was like, I can't be for you. And I was like, oh, see what you did there. I see what you did there. Right? So they leave. So anytime after that, let me just make sure I'm going on the right timeline, right? All right, yeah. So anytime after that, Kalil then made sure that he showed up to the dance school on time every day to see Miss London. And every day he was there, he was more captivated by her. He felt the connection. Miss London felt the connection too, but she was denying it, and she was wondering like, what's his motive? Why he keep coming there? And it got to the point where like he wasn't even coming there to see Jada anymore. He was mostly coming there to see Miss London. But Miss London was on the time like she know what kind of situation she's in, and she knows that her husband is gonna beat her. So her husband, right? Her husband name is Jake. So at the she knew that any little thing Jake would beat her for. If he even thought that she was lying, he would beat her. She would be at the dance class. He'd be like, oh, you wasn't there? He would beat her. So every time Kalil saw her, she would come in with a new mark. The old bruises would heal. She have a new one, and it was breaking his heart to see her like that. And he just wanted to save her and wanted to be with her. So, he kept asking her out, doing little cute things like that, but she kept turning him down. So, while he was at work, Jada called him and was like, oh, Daddy, I have a recital today. He was like, what time? 6 p.m. So, he go to the recital, right? He goes backstage. Miss London backstage. He backstage. And he's like, why you keep playing? I want to be with you. She's like, I can't, but she's feeling the attraction. She's growing more and more. And she see that he's so sincere. So I'm like, I wanted them to be together, but I'm like, I'm hoping she don't get caught, because when it was backstage, I'm thinking that her husband is gonna walk back there and see them. So then she turned him away at the recital as well, because Destiny was there. Destiny ended up coming backstage and saw that Kalil was feeling London. So Destiny went up to Kalil, was like, oh, hey, baby, this, that, and the third. And Miss London saw that and walked away, and Kalil went off on Destiny. I'm like, she really a trifling one. It's bad enough that you don't care about what you did and you want him to forgive you and get over it. But now you're going to trying to mess up something good. Go sit down, Destiny. Go sit down. So anyways, after the recital, Kalil started sending her flowers for the next 2 weeks. And trying to be like the little lovey-dovey stuff to show that he's serious and that he really want her. Then he gave her a note that said like little cute note that will you be my girlfriend or this, that, and the third, right? So she started having a conversation with him like, listen, why do you want to be with me? So he offered. I'm gonna fast forward because this video I'm pretty sure it's gonna be long. So he asked London to go out to dinner with him. So at the dinner, she finally revealed that her husband beats her for no reason. She's afraid of him. Like the things that he do to her is unbearable. I just want to make sure. Hold on one second. Yeah, that. So she starts revealing everything. So she was like, it's not what it seems. So let me tell you Miss London's story. So Miss London was in Trinidad, right? And her father owed Jake some money. So her father could not pay back the money. So the father ended up selling London to her husband now. She was forced to marry Jake. At the age of 16, she came here. When she came here, because she has no social, she has no identification, she has no green card, she has no papers, so nobody know who she is. So she cannot run off anywhere. And she's stuck in a marriage. She has no money. She has nothing. So that's why she was in the marriage. She can't leave. When her and Jake first had sex, it was like rape. Honestly speaking, it was like rape. So that's all she's known since she was 16. I believe she had grown. She's like 25, 26, one of them, right? So after she told Kalil the story, he fell in love with her more and understood the situation, why she can't leave. And she kept telling him, my husband is a dangerous man. So let me tell you something, right? So the whole time, I don't want to spoil this part yet. I'm gonna wait. I'm super excited. All right. So anyways, so they have dinner. He falls more in love with her. So Kalil realized he don't have the money to pay for the dinner. So they end up doing a dine and dash. And when she did that, she felt free. Like it was a different part of her was opening up, and she was becoming more relaxed and more open and more happy because, although she realized Kalil had no money, he made her feel love. And London never felt love in her life, not from her family. She don't have any friends, not from anyone. So, when Kalil was generally showing her that he loved and opening up to her, she was happy, and that's all she learned for. She didn't care about money. She didn't care about none of that. And I was just like, why is she in this situation? Why? Right? So let me fast forward. All right, hold on. All right. All right, cool. So London then ends up going home. Her husband Jake is waiting at the home for her, right? So he's like, "Oh, where you been?" And she's basically like, I was at dance class, this, that, and the third. So, wait, sorry, I think I missed the part. No, I'm sorry, I'm good. So he coming for his meeting early. So he's like, listen, where you been at? So next thing you know, he started taking a towel and choking her with it. And this part was so gruesome, guys. Like, I'm sorry that I'm revealing this. He took a towel and choked her with it, right? But then he balled up his fist and shoved it in her vagina, causing her to bleed. And then not only did he do that, I ain't gonna say it's rape because it wasn't consensual. He then proceeded to have rough sex with her after. So she bleeding, right? Then he tells her to go get dressed because they have a meeting, right? A dinner meeting. So I'm just like, yo, I was crying. I felt so bad for her, like the pain, like you felt her pain in the book. I'm telling you, I felt the emotions in the book. So they go to the dinner meeting, right? At the dinner meeting, is Laura, his business partner. We never got his name, but his wife named Laura. So they talking, and then London said I need to go to the bathroom because her stomach started cramping and everything. When they reach to the bathroom now, she's bleeding, blood is coming out of her. She's so Laura sees that, and Laura's like, what's going on? So the restaurant was a little dark, so they couldn't see the bruises. But when they was in the bathroom, Laura saw the bruises, right? So Laura's like, who did this to you? And then London's like, no, don't say nothing, this, that, and the third. So Laura's like, here's my number. If you need help, let me know. So it got to the point where London was like, she needs the help, but she's not going to ask Laura because Laura's husband is friends with her husband, so you know how that goes. So Laura's an MVP, so when they reach back to the table, Laura tells her husband, like, we need to go, I'm not feeling too good. So they get back, they go to the car. Now, the husband then calls her husband, Jake, while they're driving, and tells Jake that, we can't do business together. Jake is like, I understand. Jake hang up the phone, open the car door, and try to push London out the fucking car. And she hanging out, and the only reason why she didn't fall out because of a pothole, right? So when they reach back to the house now, let me tell you what Jake made her do. So Jake made her dig a hole, right? A deep hole. Once she finished digging the hole, Jake said, it's either you decide to be a good wife because you making me beat you, or you die right here. First of all, if I was London, I was picking up that fucking shovel and hitting Jake with it. Because Jake was pissing me off. Like, why do men always, when men abuse women, oh, you made me do this. Why are you making me do this? No, motherfucker, have some impulse control. You have a problem. These women are not asking to be beat. Talking about why you made me do it. Every time he said that, you making me hurt you and beat you, it pissed me off. It really pissed me off. But, yeah, we'll go from there. So, I lost my train of thought because that really just made me get mad all over again. Hold on, guys. All right. So, yeah. So, let's fast forward. So, Kalil now is walking. He meet up with his old prodigy. Peanut. So Peanut looked up to Kalil. Kalil put Peanut on, showing the way. So they more like brothers. So Peanut ended up going to work for Hove when Kalil got locked up because he needed money. So when he seen Kalil, he's like, oh, he was on his way to work actually. He seen Peanut, so they was talking, and then he ended up seeing Fat Boy. Mind you, I tell you, Fat Boy was on the run from Kalil. So he then decided that, you know what, I can't forgive what Fat Boy did because Kalil's battling with morals, his principles, and then vengeance, right? So he's just like, fuck it, Jay, there's more important what he did to my daughter. So when he tells Peanut what happened with what Fat Boy did to Jada. So they devise a plan, right? So Peanut goes up to Fat Boy like, listen, I want to get down with you. I want to make some money. Befriending him, right? So Fat Boy is a fool. Fat Boy, he don't have any street smarts. For somebody to be in the street, he really and truly didn't have no street smarts. Like, my man was dumb. So Peanut and Fat Boy go in the car, they talking, and Peanut was like, oh yeah, I don't mess with Kalil. Fuck Kalil. Since he come out, he's a changed man. At first I thought Peanut was going against Kalil until I realized that they had set him up. So Peanut and Fat Boy pull over by a park, right? They was getting ready to smoke. Then Kalil come up on the driver's side and put a gun to Fat Boy's head and told him to go over. So, long story short, Kalil ended up killing Fat Boy. In the midst of this, Kalil was an hour late to work, and his boss fired him, right? So he's like, listen, because I decided to kill Fat Boy, I was late to work, and I got fired, and he's juggling with that. So now, he's asked out of a job, right? Hold on. At the same time, his old cellmate, June got up before him, messaged Peanut, and Peanut gave the message to Kalil like, oh, this dude is looking for you. So he contacts June. June is like, if you give me some bricks, the deal's gonna go down. make some quick money. So Kalil's like, listen, I love London. I want to get Jada out of here. I want to get London from her situation. So if I do this one situation, this one transaction, it will set me up. So in all honesty, it would have set him up, right? So, So in all honesty, it would have set him up right. So he agreed to meet up with June and to do the deal, right? So the whole time Quinn is like, I don't know his cousin, because Kalil told Quinn that he was gonna do the deal. Quinn got a bad feeling about June. So my problem with Kalil was hard to hear. He didn't want to hear anything. So Kalil's like, nah, I know him. Is this one quick? We're gonna have a come up, whatever. So, okay, Kalil, now listen. At the same time, right? So we're gonna pause. We're gonna go back to London. At the same time, London realized that after that whole situation, she couldn't do it anymore. She just could not take it anymore. But I'm gonna pause right there because I forgot an important part. Because it's not really an important part, but you're gonna see in the end, right? So at one point, Kalil had walked into the house when he went to go visit Jada and realized the house was a mess. Jada didn't eat. So when he walked into the bedroom, he's found Destiny laid out with a pipe to her mouth. So she got hooked on crack. And he was crying like, no matter what happened between him and Destiny, he loved her and he didn't want to see like that. So he ended up sending Destiny to rehab and taking Jada. So just remember that part, right? So anyways, yes. So now Kalil decides he's going to do one transaction. He calls Hova. He goes to get, he tells Hova that I need the cocaine. Are you still willing to give it to me at a discount? This, that, and third, right? Hova said, yes, I got you. So he said, that's that. So pause right here, right? Listen to this. So London decides that she is over that. So London, it was like a day or two after the situation happened, right? And London's like, I can't deal with it no more. So she knew the one way to get to Jake was through sex, right? She had to put it down on him. So she knew when she put it down on him, he would fall asleep. So she decided to do that. The whole time she like cringing, like, I can't believe I'm doing that. So it worked, right? So she put it down on my boy. So Jake went to sleep. Remember what I'm about to say, because this was the only part in the book I was like, how the hell? So mind you, this situation happened first. Jada have sex with Jake. Jada, oh my gosh. London has sex with her husband, Jake, right? Jake goes to sleep. London gets a bag, pack it with clothes. She takes her ring. She goes to pawn the ring, right? So she goes to pawn the ring, and then she gets some money, and she's heading to Kalil's apartment. Kalil now had called Hove, right? And made the transaction with Hove and was like, Hove was like, made the deal with Hove, and Hove was like, where you want me to meet you? Kalil gave him the address to his apartment, right? So now, again, London's on the way to Kalil's house. So Hova gets to Kalil's apartment. They do the transaction or whatever. Hova is still sitting in the car while Kalil's walking back to the building just to make sure nothing goes down. At the same time, he he calls his soldiers disciples. One of his disciples like, hey, ain't that your wife? So Hova look up. No, he says, hey, Jake, ain't that your wife? So Hova's like, what the fuck I told you about calling me my government name? So when that part came, I was like, oh, I knew it. So as I was reading the book, guys, I said, this is before I got to the part, right? I said, this storyline would be so good if London's husband turned out to be Hova. And it happened, and it was 11 o'clock at night, and I was screaming like, I knew it. I was hyped as hell. So anyways, so the problem I have with this part is, how the fuck is Hova, aka Jake, in the same spot as London when London left his ass knocked out on the bed? I was so confused. I was like, how is that possible? She just left him sleep, escape, and now he's doing a drug transaction. The writers messed up in that part. Cause I was like, the fuck? But anyways, so Ho was like, what the hell she doing? So London ended up going to an apartment. She knocks on the door. Kalil, you know, they have their little love. I want to be with you. I'm running away. I love you, this and the third. So Kalil was honest, was like, listen, I'm going to do this one deal in DC. This one run in DC real quick. It's the one and only. Once I get the money, we going, we moving out. So he tells London to take care of Jada, and Jada and London loved each other, so it wasn't nothing to do that. The whole time Quinn is like, you want me to come with you? Kalil's like, nah, I don't want you to come with me, this and the third. So when Kalil's leaving the building, mind you, Hova has spun the block again. Hova's sitting out there, and he want to see why his wife is in the building. So as Kalil's leaving the building, he don't see Hova still there. He sees London comes after Kalil. They do a little hug and kiss goodbye, whatever. So he realized, like, Kalil fucking my wife. Boom, bitch. Boom. So now, Kalil's like, I want all these bitches dead. I want Kalil dead. I want London dead. All of them dead, right? So I'm like, damn. Just when you think shit is gonna be smooth. So anyways, so Kalil's in the car with June. Now they driving to DC. The whole time June a little nervous, all this, right? So Kalil's like, yo, you good? So he's like, yo, this must be his first transaction, drug transaction or whatever. So June ended up pulling over to the side of the road, talking about I have to go and pee. So Kalil sitting in the car. Next thing you know, June creep over to the passenger car, hit him over the head, tell him to get out. He ended up shooting Kalil 4 times in the chest, and I was devastated. But the whole time Quinn was following Kalil and June, because I told you he was suspicious and he didn't trust June. And I'm like, that's a real one. That's a real cousin. He was following his instincts, and his instincts was right. So he reached up to Kalil. I'm like, oh God, Kalil gonna die now. I'm crying like Kalil is dead. Man, Quinn reached up to freaking Kalil. Kalil had a whole bulletproof vest on. He was like, you know, whenever I did these transactions, I never went nowhere without wearing a vest. I'm like, whew, thank God. So June ended up getting away with the money, right? I mean, not with the money, with the drugs. So now Kalil's out of $360,000. So now, not only does he not know that Hova knows that he's having sex with his wife, he is now out of money. So he's like, fuck. To owe Hova money is to mean that you're going to see your maker one time. So Kalil was going through with that, right? So we're going to put a pause on that. Hold up. Let me just fast forward real quick. Hold on, let me make sure. All right. So Kalil realized, like, you know, Hova's gonna come after the money or whatever. So he tells Jada and London to go to a hotel. So Hova had told his men to stay outside the apartment building and wait for London to come out and grab her to kill her. So he sent Lynch and Peanut. Peanut, like, again, Peanut is Kalil's protege, and Lynch is just a killer, like a notorious killer. So as London and Jada's coming out to go to the hotel, Peanut realized, like, yo, that's Kalil's little girl, and that's London. So the whole time, you know, Peanut's like, damn, you know, I'm not gonna, Kalil's my man. And so he's secretly trying to text Kalil and call Kalil. Kalil wouldn't pick up his phone for nothing. Kalil kept sending Peanut to voicemail. And in my head, everything that happened afterwards could have been avoided if Kalil picked up Peanut's phone call. But of course, he didn't. So London and Jada go to the hotel. Lynch and Peanut end up finding them. They kidnap them, take them to a warehouse, right? So they take them to the warehouse. So Lynch is now trying to rape London, because he's saying, oh, London, how you end up with a white boy, and I'm going to show you what good dick is, and touching her and kissing her spreading her legs and giving her oral sex. And I was just so mad. I'm like, London, if you don't kick this motherfucker. But he had a gun, so I understand that she didn't want anything to happen to Jada, so she's protecting Jada, right? So now, you know, at the same time, Quinn is like, all right, what you gonna do about Hova's money? Mind you, Kalil still doesn't know that Hova knows that he's sleeping with his wife. So Kalil's like, I'm about to just face the music. So he goes to see Hov to tell Hov, like, you know, I got robbed. Give me some time to get the money back. Hova is sitting there like, I love my wife. So Kalil's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I love my wife. So Hova's like, I love my wife. So Kalil's like, all right, like, you gonna give me some more time. He turns a picture over on the desk and shows London. So Kalil's taken back like, you are the man that was beating the love of my life. You're London's husband. So he's like, damn. So basically, Hova was like, I have London. I have your daughter. I'm gonna kill them. I'm gonna let you hear, right? So he was like, you know what? I need you to do something for me. So I remember the mob boss, the Italian boss that Kalil was working for and Hova got beef with. Right. So Hova tells Kalil that he has to go kill the mob boss, the Italian boss, right? Kalil already knew that it was like a suicide mission. So he was like, you know, I'm gonna just have to do it. I gotta save Jada and London. Again, so the whole time Peanut is trying to stall Hov and Lynch from killing the two girls, because Peanut's a loyal soldier, but he's more loyal to Kalil. So he's trying to stall. He calling Kalil. Kalil would not pick up his call. I'm like, Kalil, answer the phone. So he's not answering the phone, right? So Quinn and Kalil go do the job. They thief the money from Morty. They kill the mob boss. Then when they was killing the mob boss, they took his money, and then they said Hova sends his best regards. Just, you know, so because they already know, they said that the Italians would retaliate. So now he go back to the club. So the whole time Peanut's like, you know what? I'm gonna just have to take out Lynch. So Peanut now was like, damn, it's time. We gotta kill them. So he end up killing Lynch, shoots him in the head, rescues Destiny in London, and was like, listen, you know, I'm gonna save Kalil. I'm Lord. So him, London, and Jada is in the car speeding on the way to the club. So now we at the club. So we at the club now, and sorry, let me stop. So let me reverse a little bit. So Peanut takes out Lynch, right? Peanut takes out Lynch, my bad, guys. Kalil reached back at the club. Hova calls Peanut. Lynch phone. Peanut answers, and Hova's like, kill them. So Peanut lets off 2 shots. The girl screaming. He ends the call, right? He saves them. Then he realized that he got to go to the club, save Kalil. So now they in the car on the way to the club. Kalil is broken down. He's like, my daughter and the love of my life just got killed. Next thing you know, Hova have his disciples beat Kalil like bad. For 20 minutes, Kalil got beat bad. He couldn't do nothing. Next thing you know, Kalil was like, fuck you, I'll see you in hell to Hova, as Hova's pointing a gun to his head. Next thing you know, the Italians come shooting in, guns blazing. So everybody getting shot. The Italians getting shot, the disciples getting shot. So it's last man standing. So let me tell you about Hova. So Hova is a little bitch, right? So Hova realized all his men is dead. He hiding behind the bar. He got 1 bullet in his gun. He realized that, without my men, I'm powerless. He's a little bitch. It's people like him that need people around them to make them feel powerless and fearful, because he's not like that. So Kalil now looking for Hova. Kalil in his mind, his daughter is dead. The love of his life is dead. He has nothing to lose. So he call in Hova. Hova refused to come out. Next thing you know, Peanut finally pulls up to the club, right? Something said shit was about to go down. So Peanut tells London and Jada to stay in the car. Peanut gets into the club like, Kalil, where you at? Kalil looks at Peanut, didn't even let Peanut explained to him what's going on. All he could hear and see is that Peanut killed Jada and London, and Kalil was trying to get, Peanut was trying to get the words out, like, Jada and then next thing you know, Kalil starts shooting him. And Kalil emptied a whole clip into Peanut. And Peanut, I'm standing like this. Dead. So now, Hova is like, damn, if Kalil could do that to his mans, what is he going to do to me? Again, he a little bitch crying, right? So, mind you, Hova's still fine. Next thing you know, who tell London to leave the car? Nobody tell London to leave the car. London now comes out of the truck, goes into the car, right? She's like, Kalil, what did you do? What did you do? Next thing you know, Hova grabs London, right? So Hova's telling Kalil, like, I'm about to kill her and you. So Kalil's like, I love you forever, because he realized it's either he gonna die or London's gonna die, and they're like, I love you and then London said, I love you. After London told Kalil that she loved him, Hova like broke down and shot her. So she shot, right? Next thing you know, Kalil like, London. So they have an emotional break, like, I love you forever. And London said, you made me feel free and feel happy. I've never felt that. I will always be here in your heart when the wind blow. It's me who gushing by. I'm like, oh my God. So Kalil crying. Next thing you know, Kalil get up, start beating Hova. Boom, 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 boom. Beat him. Right? So then he goes back to London. London's like, stay with me while I die. She ended up dying. So now Kalil is pissed off. So he stand up to go shoot Hova. Here come the fucking police, right? The police come in, shoot him in his leg. Hova end up surviving. They take Jada away. Kalil goes to jail. That was the last time he ever saw Jada, right? So mind you, this story, the whole time, Kalil is telling the story to the writers. So the writers end up, writing his story, because I forgot this part. In the beginning, Kalil was like, I need to tell my story because I'm running out of time. So when the writers end up writing his whole story, it took them a week. They went back to visit him in jail and found out that Kalil hung himself. He killed himself. It was just, he dealt with so much loss, he couldn't deal with it, So he hung himself, and they were so sad. So then, the book went on to sell, and then they received, the writers, I think it was a year later, received another envelope, and it was the final script, because Kalil never finished telling the ending of the chapter. It just ended with him getting arrested and shot in the leg, right? So this is how the end happens. So after everything, Hov decides that he's a changed man. He regrets killing London. It broke his heart. He really didn't love her. He didn't show it. I'm like, man, fuck out of here. So he ended up giving his life to God, which I agree with that. But him, I don't know. I just don't know. But anyways, so he gives his life to God. He gets out of the drug game. He's trying to repent, right? But his sins, Anyways, so he ends up finding a new love. So while I was reading, I'm thinking like, damn, did he end up, did Jada grow up? And he with Jada, but I'm like, Jada was too young. So I'm like, who this new love? So he's in a church on his knees repenting because he wants to propose to his new girl, right? So he's like, I'm going to change, I'm going to tell my new girl everything. So now the new girl, he comes into the church, right? He's kneeling down and she's standing up, massaging his shoulder. So he turns, he's like, I love you. We only been together for 3 months. I want to be with you. And then next thing you know, his new girl slit the throat. As she slit the throat, she shows a tattoo and it says, rest in peace, Kalil. Guess who it was? Destiny went with Hova, Jake, whatever. She didn't want to do it, but she did it to revenge Kalil, and she did just that, killed him. And she was like, Kalil saved my life. She knows she did him dirty, but she really loved him, and now his soul could finally rest in peace. And her and Jada live is not happily ever after, but that's that. And I was like, so that's how the story ends. I love the book. I did love the book. I appreciate you, Tyra Mel, for suggesting the read. It was 5 out of 5. I felt the emotions of the page. It was a page turner for sure. I didn't finish it in one sitting because I just, I'm the type where, like, when the book is good, I have to keep pausing and walking away and coming back because I want to know what's happening, but I don't want the book to end too soon. So that's what I was doing. I recommend the book. It captivated me. It held my interest, and I appreciate you for recommending it. Yeah, it was just a good book. Just to let you guys know, I received all the books except for one. So, the reviews are going to be coming more and more and more. Continue to drop your reviews below. I got y'all. And thank you for all the support. Thank you for those who keep watching the videos and suggesting. I really appreciate the love. And until next time, I'll see y'all later.